as a continent, do we have the potential of catching up with the other continents where technology has become like water, where it's permeated nearly all areas of human life?
I would say the potential is just as much as it is anywhere in the world. The fact is, innovation, the power, the drive for innovation is a fundamental human condition. There's nothing different from an American, from a European, from a Chinese person, from an African, from whoever. Innovation is in all of us. So what's the potential? It's equal potential. Now the question becomes, what's the ecosystem within which we as individuals, an individual African, an individual American, etc., what's the environment and ecosystem that we're living and operating in, and how will that affect or determine our ability to reach our potential as innovators?
What can we do to replicate what we have in the US, say the Silicon Valley, or even what the Indians have in Bangalore, a technology hub where we have young people innovating, creating, and doing something for themselves?
Well, in fact, where coming from in Kenya, people are readily using the term Silicon Savannah to describe what's going on around Nairobi. A tremendous amount of innovation. And in fact, you just actually touched on part of the solution. The solution isn't suddenly that all of Africa is going to change overnight, nor is all of Africa going to change in an even distribution. The solution will lie in pockets, as you say. Innovation hubs is another way to think of that. These are places where governments are progressive, people are progressive, and these are where capital is willing to flow. You already see this happening. Rwanda is a small country, but it's happening in a big way. Nairobi, it's definitely happening. South Africa, surely it's happening. West Africa, I'm not so sure because I'm not so familiar with West Africa, but I'm going to reckon it is. I just can't pinpoint. And the bottom line is the investment should be made in a concentrated way to create safe areas for entrepreneurs to work, to have a safe space to fail. This is a very important thing about entrepreneurship is to feel it's okay to fail. You don't have to get funding necessarily from governments. However, I do want to say that governments actually should be in a position to enable this, or at least provide an enabling environment. Governments cannot dictate who's going to win or lose at innovation.
Yes.
No matter what they might think, they just simply can't.
Correct.
But they can create an enabling environment. Policies, even brick and mortar, literally a space an internet connection is all an entrepreneur typically needs, and let them go.
Yes.
Let them figure that out. Because once you mix them together, you get the sum is much greater than the pieces. Because entrepreneurs start to play off of each other, they attract other entrepreneurs from around the world to come and visit with them, and all of a sudden now you have this mix and play of ideas. And also, this another very important point here is entrepreneurship isn't just about taking Western notions of entrepreneurship and implanting it in Africa, but for Africa to figure out what does this mean for Africa. What sort of traditional financing mechanisms, again, I'm coming from Kenya, crowdfunding is already there in a certain way. It's just not labeled crowdfunding. We have things like Harambes for weddings, Horatios. People collectively put money together. What of those traditional systems could be built on and turned into financing mechanisms for entrepreneurs? What of traditional systems for entrepreneurs to fail and to have the resilience to stand back up on their feet, or the social network to say, it's okay, now you failed, what did you learn and how to get on with it? So really my point is, the solution shouldn't just be transplanting what's worked in Silicon Valley to Lagos or to Nairobi or elsewhere, but rather think about what existing structures are there and how can that be built upon.
Some African young people who have ideas may feel they are limited by fund. Taking off becomes an issue. Do you think money is all they need to start?
Well, first one is to shake off your old thinking. And it's easy to say, but it's so fundamentally important. African youth are oftentimes trained to think that they can't operate on a global stage, that they can't have the next big technology breakthrough. I'm just thinking of one, for example, that was in the news, something called Oculus, which is a virtual reality headset, which was just bought by Facebook for $4 billion. This was started by a 21-year-old kid in San Francisco only about 4 or 5 years ago, out of his garage. So why can't that happen in Lagos or Nairobi? Because an entrepreneur in Lagos or Nairobi can order on the internet the same little bits and pieces and electronics that it takes. Why is that not happening? There's no reason why it shouldn't happen. It's a matter of shaking off whatever you thought before. An African can operate on a global stage just as a Chinese person or a European person or etc. So it's a bit of shaking what it is there. It's not shaking in terms of dismissing everything else, but shaking in terms of having a new mindset of I can be an entrepreneur. I can come up with the next billion-dollar idea just like anyone else can. But I have to be prepared to throw my passion at it and never accept no as an answer, and to look for any possible opportunity for funding. Like I said, crowdfunding is a whole new platform that's open to anybody.
That's about it. It's been wonderful having you, Nick.
Sure.
Thank you very much.